I just tell me when we go live.
Sure. Okay, let's booting up now, so we'll be live in about a minute's time.
Okay, just cool.
That displayed in the background as well. Wait for that to finish.
You don't have any dirty pictures on your screen, no?
I take my job very seriously.
So do I, my friend.
So the winners so far. Keith only had one win actually, but Viaz had 2 wins. Tarborg's had 2 wins. Keith had a win. Yuri's not had a win yet, and Saul has had a win.
Yeah, indeed.
Saul has had two top 3s. Hello and welcome to round 4 of the American Touring Car Championship. This is season 3. We are live from Watkins Glen today. I'm Ryan Callan and I'm joined this week by Mr. Bjorn de Haas.
Good evening all. Good morning to our European viewers. Good evening to our US viewers and racers.
Thank you, Bjorn. It'd be nice to have you alongside me for this race. In front of you there you can see the points table for the season so far. This is after 6 races and 3 events. Keith Barrick is still top of the table, as he has been since after the first round of the season. In second place again is Yuri Braham. Third is Jesper Tarborg after his double win at the KW Super Speedway last week. VR has dropped to 4th after a couple of good results at the KW Super Speedway, but has lost ground to the guys in front of him. Boucher is still there in 5th with his DHR Simcraft teammate Vincent Kahn there in 6th. Rounding out the top 10 is NATO, Skurlock, Nelson and Clean. Danny Wood had a very good round at the KW Super Speedway, moving from 17th to 11th during that time. And Reese Gardner and now Karen Madaru have also moved into the top 20 for the first time this season. So let's get to the racing action and we'll show you the state of play so far. And we can see that Miguel Nato is very much on form at the moment in his Volvo S60. Let's try and find a lap with him if we can. Riding on board now with him. Heading now down towards the boot. This is the second time the American Touring Car Championship has come to Watkins Glen. They came here in season 1 for the final round. And they used the short NASCAR layout that time, with Lawson and Saul Boucher taking his first ATCC win there. Of the contenders who are here tonight, Barrick took a 3rd and an 8th place at that event, while Graham took a 10th and 11th, so he'll be looking to improve on that at the moment, and he looks on course for that, 3rd so far. And Asbury is set the fastest sector so far. Bjorn, what do you think of the action so far?
Well, obviously the season has been really tight. A lot of drivers really close to each other again, like all the ATCC seasons previously. Here as well we can see the times are really close to each other, so I expect a lot of close racing and a high competition level, to be honest, Ryan.
Thank you, Bjorn. It's nice to have a midnight friend with me. Let's go back to Dan at the moment, who wasn't a fast lap just before that second sector. Dan seems to be on fire this practice session. He needs to be as well. He's had a very poor run of results so far this season. His best result being a 20th, and he's been in danger of dropping out of the first server for these events. Speaking of which, there is no change from the KW Super Speedway of the entrance to server 1, so we are as we were. Timer says 12 minutes left in practice. In fact, there is 7. Only 5 minutes just behind here. And NATO again is on a very fast lap. We are going to be joined by another guy, this time a racer, Reggie Blaine, who drives for Bonaccord Ultimate. We'll get him down here so we can have a chin wag. Bjorn, we see a lot of European racers in this league. I mean, what is it that you think appeals to those racers to be able to stay up at this time of night and want to race?
Well, to be honest, I think, like I just mentioned, the quality and level of racing in the ATCC and American club races is just phenomenal. And I think it's really worth to stay up, watch the races, and just to be part of it. You know, it's really good.
Here we are now with Reggie Blaine. Hello, Reggie, who's from Northern Ireland. He's one of those European guys who stays up in the middle of the night to race with these guys. Reggie, why exactly do you do that? Reggie, do we have you?
Hi, Ram.
Hi, Reggie. There we go.
Hi. Yeah, Ram. Basically, the ATCC has a great bunch of people and good racers, and I basically joined the first season halfway through, so my number one thing was to make sure that I joined this year and done it the whole way through, you know.
Okay, and obviously you're on the same time scale as me, so it's 2:30 in the morning and often 4 in the morning before the races finish. I mean, it takes a lot of dedication to do that this time in the morning. I mean, how do you find that?
Yeah, it does. It feels a bit long for the race to start, but once you're once you're on the grid and you're lined up and the lights go off, it might as well be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, to be honest. You know, the adrenaline takes over around.
Yeah, I mean, right, we'll let you go anyway, Reggie, because obviously 2 minutes to go until qualifying. I don't want to interrupt your preparations. Thanks for popping down.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with the race.
Thanks,
Ram.
Ram.
Out for you.
Have a good race, Reggie.
Thank you. See you later, guys.
Cheers, Reggie. Keith is on a very good sector at the moment, but he's being held up behind Yuri Braham, who is his championship rival, of course. Yuri might have got out of the way just in time there. Miguel Neto's middle sector seems to be incredibly fast. In the first sector, that we see quite a few people just in front of him. During the second sector, he seems to pull out a heck of a gap. Very rarely we're not seeing any purple second sectors so far.
Well, what
Go ahead,
surprises me, what surprises me is basically that Miguel Nieto is like 3/10 off to the second place Francisco Villar, which is a really big gap and really good racing in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's had not much, well, I would say luck so far this season, but he's obviously not produced the results that his speed has shown so far. He's been very sketchy in the races and been involved in lots of contact, as viewers of ATCC will have seen throughout the season. It would be interesting to see whether he can actually string together the results so far. He's in the same boat really as Dan Asbury, not quite as extreme as Dan Asbury's example, but in the same sort of category, has had a bit of speed, but not been able to produce the results that speed should really warrant.
Yeah, well, maybe this can be one of his lucky races. I mean, the pace is there.
Yep. He just needs to put it all together. We have VR as well, of course, who specialise in taking race 2 road course wins so far.
Indeed, indeed.
And then we have a sector 2 that's purple beyond.
Yeah, true. And then Asbury is really on a hot lap now, taking it to the max with the car.
He is, yeah. He's on fire. Again, we saw a bit of speed from him at the Nürburgring during one of the pre-races, and he didn't string it together there either. So we'll see what he can do. Looking forward to seeing a new face at the front of the field. It's always nice.
Definitely agree.
52.5. That's excellent. Let's look at that. Those 3 drivers there are very, very, very close together. What I mean, we've got 2 BMWs at the top there. Do you think it's a BMW track, Bjorn?
I think what you definitely need on this track is a lot of power. We have less corners. There are maybe like 2 or 3 parts of the tracks which you actually go to the lower gears, and for the rest it's just a lot of flat out parts, sweeping corners. So what I think is you need a really powerful car, and the BMW does give it, yes. But what I'm afraid of with the BMW is the tire wears can be really high.
I mean, yes, but then obviously there's the added bonus of the fact they're rear-wheel drive and they spread their tyre wear a little bit more evenly and then keep their balance after the pit stop.
That's definitely true, though.
Yeah, obviously you can see front-wheel drive cars very, very leery afterwards.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, the aspect which car you drive, I mean, it's all balanced. It comes all down to the driver, especially in touring car races nowadays.
Yeah, with everything so close, it's obviously a test for all the drivers. Okay, we're moments away from Super Pole quali here. NATO is again on a very fast lap. We'll join him as he comes around. He's still purple after the second sector, so see what he can do into the final corner. Very nice turn in there, very oversteery. A Volvo S60 can be like that. And a 52.446 improves ever so slightly, but that's enough to give him fastest time in practice so far. Yeah, very interested to see what the lap times will be during the Super Pole. They will be comparable to this pace, I would presume, because of course they've only got 1 lap at it and they can't go completely all out. They'll still find themselves way, way, way down the grid. So, we have NATO at the top of the field. Francisco Villa, who is one of the championship contenders so far. It's really boiled down to 4 drivers at the moment. Vincent Khan needs a very good result at this event to get back in contention, as does Saul Boucher. They need to do very, very well here. I mean, they need 2 podiums each, really, to get back into the hunt. It looks like a 4-way fight for the title at this present time.
How many races do we have left after this? If I'm correct, 4.
Yep, there are no, 5 more events. Sorry, there's 18 races this season. And this will be round 7, races 7 and 8.
Yeah.
The final races at Bathurst will be longer races.
True.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens there as well. So of the championship contenders, we've got VR there in 2nd place, Torborg in 4th, Barrick there in 6th. I'm not sure exactly where Mr. Yuri Braham is. There he is in 9th place. He's improving on his lap time at the moment. We'll have a little nosy at him. Although, actually, having said that, Dan Ashbury seems to be on a very quick lap at the moment. And he's gone straight off the track there. Okay, now we're into the next section. This is qualifying. This is where everything counts.
Yeah. Especially with a one-lap qualifying, you just have to be on it. I mean, you just have to take every corner, attack every corner, but also don't take too much risk, because it's just one lap and you can easily screw up your lap and start at the back.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's I mean, how do you approach it, Bjorn? I mean, there's the philosophy of take it easy and just get a banker lap in, and therefore you're not far down the grid. But of course, there is always a temptation to push extra hard, just knowing you've got that one lap, and take advantage of people who don't push so hard and get yourself up the grid. I mean, how do you generally approach that?
Depends how the car feels with practice. Usually with the last 10 minutes of practice, I go to the quali setup and just test the car on full limits. If it feels stable, I just go flat out with the quali. But generally, I do take a little bit of the pressure off to just pull a safe lap in, because at the end of the day, starting in the top 10 or starting in 25th, it does make a difference, especially when overtaking is hard.
Yeah. Francisco Vieira has gone out very early, so we'll ride with him. He's just out on his warm-up lap. Just a quick recap then of the championship table. Barrick has a 28-point lead over Yuri Braham. There's 101 points for a win, so there's plenty of time to go in this championship. Anything can happen. There are 2 drop scores during the season. But of course, the more races you compete in, the more races you get good results in, the less likely you are to put pressure on yourself to get good results. There's of course 2 DNFs now will mean you can't afford any more DNFs for the rest of the season, so you're not able to push that 100%, maybe only able to push 95%, make sure you don't get any more of those bad results. Indeed. So here comes VR now, coming over the line and starting his lap down towards turn 1. Very difficult, very tricky braking zone into here. Big bump on the inside, and then a big camber on the outside, and then big bump on the outside, so it's quite tricky to get right. I'm going to flow it through there and keep a nice flow through these corners as well, keeping the car as straight as possible, making a straight line, keeping up the speed all the way down this straight. I'm not using the bus stop chain in this particular layout. We're going flat out towards turn 4. Dives down to the right, cambered inwards again, like pretty much all the corners on this particular track. Very easy to run wide the wheel on the grass on the exit there on the left hand side. It's now into turn 5. Long corner. Always feels like you can put the power on earlier than you can. And he heads up the hill. He's missed the apex a little bit there, but he's seemed to get the speed up not too badly, so don't think it's hurting too much. Again, tricky braking into this corner here. It's blind, you come over the crest, brake very deep, get the car snucked right in. Can be a very satisfying corner actually when it goes right. And now here is one of the few off-camber corners on the track. Dips in and then just pushes you out. Very tempting to put the power on too early, as Francisco VR just did then, getting it a little bit out of shape. And the final 2 corners. Very easy to run wide there as well, as VR is showing again. And this corner often induces plenty of oversteer. You push as much as possible just to get the maximum out of the lap, and VR is going to cross the line with a 52. It's a 52.634. That's a very solid lap so far. What do you think of that lap so far, Bjorn? right on board with Solbachert, who look to be on a quick lap at the moment. Going to go around the corner, come across the line pretty soon. And the 52.596, he goes third. So there's 52.51, 52.58 and 52.59 at the top.
Really close together. Yeah,
very,
really
very close together.
Yeah,
as we've come to expect from ATCC.
Yeah, and Dan Asbury in a second place at the moment. Really, really good. Really stable.
Reese Gardner there with a 52.472. Look at that, Bjorn. Fantastic there from Reese Gardner. In his Volvo S60.
Great effort again from Reese. Great effort.
And Karamidaro has just crossed the line in 7th. Tyler Scullock in 6th. Nico Nato now is going to cross the line. He's gone second with a 52.496. So 2 Volvo S60s on the front row. Who would have thought that? Start of this session. Donking lap there from Reese Gardner. Not quite sure where he pulled that from. I'm not quite sure he will know where he pulled that from.
Yeah, definitely. A really good lap from the young guy. It's a really good time.
Reese Gardner, one of our Australians in
the
league.
Yeah. If you look at the qualifying times, I mean, the first driver 152.4 and then the number 8 152.8. It's just 0.4 of a second. I think we're in for some close racing tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, I think so too. So we still have Keith Berwick, Darius Widerski, Michael van Scheppingen and Daniel Wood to go yet, and Stefan Werner of course as well. Let's follow Darius around. He's getting very out of shape on his outlap. Again, look at those times there. The top 3 covered by just 0.038 of a second. Less than 4 hundredths. Darius Widerski had a very good start to the season at Road America with his second place. He's dropped off a little bit since then in his BMW TrackDevil.com racing entry.
Yeah. Oh, Darius is going to start his hot lap. What do you think of Darius? Is he able to get back in the championship, or to be there as a strong contender?
Well, he's had 5 pretty poor results since that first race at Road America. I mean, he had a poor second race at Road America. He often made a strategy error at the Nürburgring, and of course had a poor second race because of that, and because he started way down the grid. And then at KW he didn't have much luck either. So no, I don't see him as getting back into the championship. I still see him as a race win contender, but not as somebody who's going to challenge for the overall title.
Well, yeah, I think the same, but definitely a quality driver in my opinion.
Absolutely quality driver, but as you can see now, he's already 3.5 tenths down in the first sector. And as you can see, already 3.5 tenths down, that immediately puts you in 8th position. Just after the first sector. So that's,
it does, yes, it does.
That's how close this particular league is. Can't let up for 1 second. Darius has now down into this tricky downhill braking zone, as you can see, getting it out of shape into that corner there, but catching it nicely, but he's half a second down. Which if he keeps it up is going to put him 14th currently. Incredible, half a second puts you in your 14th position.
It's really close, yeah. I mean, I can't wait to just see the race and see the close racing. I mean, if quali is that tight, what is going to be like racing starts?
Of course, we haven't discussed the and Darius goes 19th, as we were saying. That's just not good enough there for Darius. Be very, very disappointed with that indeed. And that just shows, I mean, the first 13 are covered by half a second. There is still Keith Barrett to go, and he is up on Reece Gardner in that first sector by 0.056, as you can see on screen there. This looks to be a very quick lap here from Keith. Championship leader, of course. I think he's just organising the championship so he can win it. Let's go on board with him, shall we? And follow him round the track.
That's a good idea.
Now into this, for this track at least, in the light camber corner, heading up the hill, making sure they put the power down nice and cleanly. You see, it's very, very blind in this corner here, and suddenly the corner appears, and then he's straight into it, down into second gear, maybe even third. He's 0.090 down. He runs a little bit wide there onto the grass. That's now down up into this off-camber corner. Lovely tight line there. Seems to get the power down pretty reasonably. Maybe a little correction there on the exit. Full commitment is needed here, because as you turn in there is no camber, and then suddenly there is lots and lots of camber, so your brain tells you can't go in so fast. You really have to force yourself into there. And again, this corner here, it's very, very easy to run wide into the barrier on the outside there, closer than it seems. And he crosses the line with a 52.784, and yes, I think that small mistake at the hairpin cost him. And just look at that, Bjorn. He's only 3/10 down, yet he's in 8th position on the grid.
Yeah,
that's
definitely
incredible.
It is. I mean, like the first sector, he was up. He was on the good side of the list, and
exactly.
The end of the day, he's 8th. And like you just mentioned, one small mistake can mean a lot here.
I mean, the top 14 are covered by less than half of a second currently. That's incredible stuff.
It's amazing, definitely. But it also shows the quality and of the ATCC, in my opinion. This is a good example of ATCC racing.
I mean, yeah, that's the whole essence so far this season. Everything's been very, very close indeed. Now Stefan Werner's going to cross the line. He's going to do a 53.814 to go 23rd. So that puts Paul Wood at the back of the field. So congratulations to Reece Gardner for that surprise pole position. Caught me out. I think it caught many people out. Maybe even caught himself out with that incredible lap time. But he does have talent, and he can run at the front very well indeed. We'll see if he can put the results together. So Reece started off in server 2. No, dropped into server 2, sorry, at one point during this season. And is now back up into the top 20 in the championship. He had a solid run there at KW Super Speedway. As we were saying, the top 19 are less than a second apart. Even more impressive, the top 14 are less than half second apart.
Yeah, it's really tight. I mean, Reece is that typical driver when it all comes together. I mean, the car is good, the motivation is there, it all comes together. He's there. I mean, he's definitely a driver to be to take it on for the first place. Then.
I mean, yeah, he'll definitely be stoked by that. Importantly as well, the two of the championship contenders have qualified ahead of Keith Barrick. So we've got Jesper there, way up there in 3rd place, ahead of Keith in 8th. Francisco there is in 6th. Of course, it's a rolling start for the first race, so there is no real drive advantage for that. and maybe in the second race. But Yuri Braham has a disaster. We didn't pick that up earlier, but that's a disaster here for his championship hopes, Bjorn. Back in 24th. He's had a very poor lap there indeed.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Yuri being my teammate. I really hope he can gain a few places on the grid, and I think he will, because he's a definitely good racer. But something must have happened in the quali. Maybe a small spin or a small off, or.
It looks like a small off because his time isn't completely terrible, so I think he maybe just ran wide somewhere, or maybe got sideways and had to gather it all up. We have also, of the other two outside championship contenders so far, we have Solbuscher in 5th position. That's good for him. And Vincent Khan is a little bit further down the field in 10th. Obviously, it's very important to keep in that top 8 throughout all the races. That keeps you up there in very good points playing positions, but obviously keeps you up there in the grid positions as well. Being 9th is no good at all. Being 8th is 10 times better. Despite the fact it's only one position. Of course, there is a reversed grid for the second race.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely want that 8th spot. I mean, you either want to be. It gives you a good effort, a good chance in the second race. You know.
There's no point in 9th if you've got to go for that 8th position.
Yeah.
And as VR has shown, he's had reverse grid, 2 reverse grid race wins so far this season.
Well, at the end of the day, like in real life touring car as well, I mean, you see a lot of drivers winning the second race starting from pole position after a good first race result.
Definitely shows the value of getting that correct as the field streams out of the pits. Also wanted some more practice in. The field is so tight, he can't afford to let up any time at all. Let's run you through the grid. Reece Gardner Ford Track Double Racing with a 4.72, takes pole position from Miguel Neto with a 4.96, driving the Portugal racing team. Jesper Tarborg for Synaptic, who is 3rd in the championship at the moment, is also 3rd on the grid. Dan Asbury, who is 4th on the grid, who will be looking for a strong result here today. As I was saying, his best result so far has been a 20th in the championship, and he's found himself way down the field. A couple of results have found him a lap down as he's been besieged by problems, so he'll be looking for a clean run here. Solbuscher there is in 5th position for DHR Syncraft with a 5.96, with VR, NATO's teammate, there in the 52.634 in his BMW 320. And then Tyler Skurlock for Synaptic Racing, the second team, 52.635. Keith Barrett, the championship leader, there in 8th position. He won't be particularly happy with that. We've lost Matthias Klein. That is unfortunate indeed. Will he be able to get back in? There is a re-entry procedure if people drop out and they are still on TeamSpeak. Hopefully he can get back in. It would be a real shame to lose him from here. Paul Sitcher, as people might remember from Road America. Also 10th in championship so far, driving for Bonacord Ultimate Racing, alongside Reggie Blaine and Kane Lasky. Again, here as well is very, very important is the pit procedure here, Bjorn. You must stay inside when you come into the pits. You must stay inside the pit line. You can't go take the normal line and then cut into the pits. You must take that line properly into the pit bunker.
So I mean, it's really going to be essential then. I mean, you have to be on it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to be on it all the way here. You're going to have to have a good out lap, good in lap. Make sure you have a good entry into the pits. No overshooting.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is Emil Salborg, who has come up from Server 2 at KW Super Speedway. That's his first race in Server 1. And he's running strong there for Waterblue Racing. In 11th position. Eric Nelson, the team boss of Synaptic Racing, is in 12th position. He is the co-organiser with Keith Barrick for this particular league. There is Diogo Lopez, compatriot of the VR and NATO at the top of the field with the 52.995. Robert Alls there with the 53.054, and that's the top 14 covered by less than half a second, as we were saying. And then we go down to Pedro Amaral for Auto Racing Team, ART, and Reggie Blaine, who we were speaking to earlier. Hopefully he can go well. And Hugo Gonçalves. So they're the 3 Auto Racing Team drivers there in a line on the grid. Bjorn? That should be interesting.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
They might push, that's the inside, isn't it? It's into the first corner, so they might push their way through a few positions, help each other out.
Yeah, what I think in the first corner, what we're going to see is, I mean, I've raced this track a few times in different sims. The first corner tends to go, you tend to go to the outside. It's really hard to stay there in the inside. I mean, so we can see some nice action there in the first lap.
In 18th position there, we are supposed to say Matthias Klein, but unfortunately he has dropped out. It doesn't look like he's going to get back in either.
That should be a big shame. That's a big shame if he can't join.
That is a big shame, yeah. And Daniel Wood there is the best of the Terra Australis Racing teammates so far. In fact, actually, is he the best? No, sorry, Robert Hiles is the best Terra Australis Racing so far. With his compatriot there, of course, Reece Gardner on pole position. He'll be very happy with that indeed. We are 30 seconds away from the race here, so 2.5 minutes away from the race start. Remember, there is a manual formation rolling start. So no rear-wheel drive advantages to be had. Michael Van Schepping in there, one of your teammates. Yuri, so it's not been a good qualifying session for your team, Flying Dutchman Racing.
No, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised.
Yuri was up there in the practice, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened with Yuri. We probably hear it afterwards. But like I just told like 5 minutes ago, the guys will go forward. I mean, they have two great races, and they're really looking for the fight, and they're really gonna take on the fight, and they're gonna bring the cars forwards. But yeah, just have to wait and see. I mean, 12 laps on this track is pretty long.
Yes, I mean, they're of course we can see they're almost 2-minute laps, so it's going to be around about 24-minute race. Yuri, of course, is going to have to aim for that 8th position, like we were mentioning earlier. That's so essential. Make sure you get a good grid position for the second race and get some good points in there. So the grid will be forming up in the next minute or so for the formation lap.
I'm just getting the news from Matthias that he had a disconnection. He's just on the chat right now, telling us what's happening, and yeah, bad luck for Matthias with the disconnection. It's really
So yeah, that's
sad.
it is sad. That's very sad to hear that, Matthias. There is Reece Gardner there on pole position. We've not really seen much of him in his Track Double Racing Red Bull sponsored Volvo S60. His team boss is further down the grid in 22nd, alongside his other teammate who's 21st. So a contrasting qualifying session there, really, for Track Double Racing. They'll be very, very happy to see Reece up there in the top position.
Yeah, surprised. I'm really surprised about this young Australian guy effort. I mean, he's really on it today, and I really hope he can get on the podium. You know, he deserves it, definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, he's not many people know, but he drives only with one hand. He's one of the guys who plays pretty much disabled and drives with one hand during the season. So for him to come out on top is a fantastic result.
It is.
I wish him all the well. I mean, yeah. I can barely drive with two arms, so with one arm I'd be useless.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on you, Bjorn.
Well, we used to have our little races together, Ryan, and always fair and always fun.
I never saw you, man. Where were you? And you know, my mirror didn't go that far.
Was it?
My mirror doesn't go far enough to see you.
Yeah, of course, but you were always in the pit lane. That's why.
No, you usually crash in the gravel trap or took other people out in the gravel trap, didn't you, Bjorn?
Yeah. Well, I am.
Yes, we heard a story earlier that you decided to take Keith Barrick out during the club race recently.
Oh yeah, with like 2 minutes to go for the start, I can tell you a small story. Yeah, we were having a club race like 2 weeks ago, and basically I was in the slipstream. We were racing at Limerick Mountain, and I was in the slipstream, and I basically outbraked myself. And when I outbraked myself, I obviously took Keith with me and demolished his rear wing. I actually went to Canada to Keith and brought him the rear wing back. So.
It was very kind of you to do so. I mean, I'm pretty surprised that he let you in to be co-commentator tonight.
Well, money can do a lot of things, my friend. That's one thing for sure.
I heard you did other things, to be fair, but we'll leave that for the rumours, yeah. Okay, the field is streaming down now towards the boot section. Ryan Callan is on pole position, alongside his Miguel Neto. Both in the Volvo S60s. Miguel Neto there just trying to warm his brakes up a little bit, it seems. Third position, stalking as always, is Jesper Torborg. He's a bit of a stalker, isn't he, Bjorn? He's a very, very intelligent racer. At the last race, he was leading going towards the pit stops in race 1, but decided to drop back to third, just in behind, just stay in the draft still, in behind Yuri and Keith, just before the pit stops, because he didn't want to screw the pit stop up. That shows just what an intelligent racer he is.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty well thought.
He thinks things out very, very well indeed. Again, another young racer, only 16 years of age. So he's dominated at the moment by little kids. Not really.
Well, at the end of the day, we're all little kids, if it comes to
exactly,
racing.
Yes, yeah. We're the kids with the pretend cars.
Indeed.
We've not moved on very much from pushing our little Matchbox cars around the room. Okay, we're getting ready for start now. They are just 3 corners away, sorry, from the start of the race. Looking forward to this race very much indeed. Going to be very exciting, I feel.
Yeah. Can't wait for the first corner. I mean, I'm really looking forward what's going to happen there.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see indeed. I'm very anxious to see whether Reese and Dan manage to string together the result that their speed deserves. Of course, they don't usually run, well, not this season so far, not run at the front of the field. Very, very interested to see how they cope with the pressure being up amongst all these aliens. Field streams round now. We're going to go green any second. Coming up towards the line. And we are away. And Reese Garner has got off to a very... No, we're not away. Have they aborted the start? They seem to have aborted the start.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what is wrong, maybe...
I'm not sure what's happened there. Everyone is still line stern.
Yeah, definitely. Still a formation lap.
For the second time in 2 races, I get excited before the start of the race. But this time it's not my fault. They seem to be going round for another formation lap.
Yeah, well... is this lap going to count to the total amount of race laps, you think, Ryan? Or?
It will do, yes, yeah, because race is set up like that. I'm quite sure what the problem will be. Hopefully we'll hear from race control pretty soon what the problem was. Maybe you could hit up Keith and ask him, Bjorn.
Yeah. Well, Keith is driving right now. And, I'll just go into the other channel. Give me 1 moment. And then I come back with some inside information to all our live viewers.
My little researcher. Thank you. to be sorting themselves out into position. Maybe they had some messed up positions. What's the story, Bjorn?
Yeah, the story is that the gaps were too big with the start.
Okay.
So they manually decided to do another formation lap. So there were no crashes, no issues whatsoever. It's just that the gaps at the green flag were too big.
There just seems still seem to be a little bit of confusion at the back of the field here. I think maybe they've thrown themselves off because of the absence of Matthias Klein. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think it's got anything to do with Matthias, because very unfortunate that Matthias disconnected. But this was all down to the races itself, with just letting the gap being too big. You can actually call it doing a little Vettel on the Hungaroring, you know?
Yeah. So we'll head back towards the start of the field, the top of the field now. And we'll get ready for a restart after the aborted start before. They head now down into the penultimate corner. As I was saying, Bjorn, I always find this corner quite difficult mentally, because you don't have any camber when you turn in, but there's lots and lots of camber when you actually get into the corner. So you really have to push yourself through that.
Definitely, yeah.
The streams now around final corner. A glorious picture of multicoloured cars, all different teams, all different countries, for the American Touring Car Championship. And round 7 is now go, and away they go. And Rhys Gardner has got off to an excellent start. Nobody seems to have gained any position so far. NATO tucks in behind is Tarborg. Coming down the inside is Swiderski holding that position, and he's tagged the back of Tarborg. That was very close indeed. Tarborg holds on to it. Danny's going to lose out too.
Yeah.
The Peugeot of Saul Boucher. Now place. Danner is dropped to 6th after that small error going into the back of Jesper Tarborg. So what initially seemed to be probably more problematic for Jesper has been more problematic for Dan himself.
Very, very good start of Rhys. I mean, he took it all along.
And off has gone Cameron. It's interrupted there. Yuri, but off has gone Cameron. He's gone flying off at the bottom of the boot. He's managed to rejoin the track now, I think. Where is it? Where is he? Can't quite find him. Where on earth is there? He is back there, behind the 2 Terra Australis races. So he managed to get going again, but that was a very high-speed accident down, spin down there.
I really hope for him that he didn't hit anything, because in lap 1 that would be really quick. But he definitely lost a few positions there.
He did indeed. And now the top 3 are very, very close indeed. Miguel Nato is monstering the back of Rhys Gardner. Hopefully he can abstain from having contact during these races. We've seen plenty of contact from him during the opening few races in this season. So no, there goes contact already.
Yeah.
But that was pretty fair. I think Rhys turned in on the Peugeot of Miguel Nato. Miguel seemed to be up the inside pretty clearly. What do you think of that, Bjorn?
What I think of it? Well, first of all, I think it's really sad for Rhys, but I think it's a racing incident. I mean, 2 drivers going in the corner while there is space for only 1 driver. Typical first lap incident, in my opinion.
And he's back down now to 9th position. This is what we're talking about. Often gets himself in situations where he has accidents from it, and Jesper Tarborg has very quietly just sneaked up onto the back of Miguel Nato as well. He's now in behind the draft of the Portuguese driver, looking for a way past. He won't be too desperate so far. He likes just to keep a watching brief and figure out his strengths and weaknesses. Very kind of racer indeed, Jesper Tarborg. Around the outside now of Miguel Nato. I was afraid he was going to crash then, and I was going to give him the mockers. In 3rd place is Saul Boucher. Moved up to 4th now has Tyler Skurlock. In 5th is Francesco Villa. Just in behind him is Keith Barrick, who's got Pat Dan Asbury, who's now dropped to 7th position. There he is, in behind the red and green BMW and the orange Peugeot. There's Francesco Villa. He's won 2 races so far this season. Tied for most wins of the season with Jesper Tarborg. 2 wins have been taken by Barrick and Boucher so far. for DHR Simcraft. DHR Simcraft intensely leading the team championship by quite a way. And there is Jesper Tarboe just stalking the back of Miguel Nato.
What do you think? You think that Jesper is quicker, or is he just waiting his chances, maybe to the pit stop, maybe to get a good opportunity to pass? What do you think goes on in his head right now, being the faster car?
I mean, he often just stays in behind, just waits for his opportunity and takes it later in the race. It seems to. He doesn't seem to like to push too much very early. As I say, very intelligent racer. Just finds out his strengths and weaknesses. I very rarely see him push too hard on the opening few laps. Just keeps up with the guy in front. He's very intelligent racing, as I say. And Sal Boucher now is coming under pressure from the Seat Toledo of Tyler Skurlock, who is a teammate of Tarboe, not in the same team in the championship, because Skurlock is driving for Bravo and Tarboe for Alpha, but they're both from Synaptic. And up the inside is going Tyler, who's got an excellent slipstream. He's going to be brave under the brakes. He's ever so tight there on Sal Boucher. And Boucher gets it out of shape on the exit.
Yeah.
But Skurlock also got plenty of understeer. Now in behind them is VR battling with Barrick. Look at these two, hard at war, two high quality, high class racers, racing for those positions.
And behind that we see Dan Asbury. I think Vincent Khan is going to put Dan under Asbury. He's going to put him on a lot of pressure, what basically means that all DHR Simcraft cars are involved in big battles.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely. And Tyler is right in behind Sal Boucher. No, he's not. He's dropped back a little bit. He's made a small mistake here somewhere. He must have made a mistake just at the uphill hairpin before, and VR is right now around the back of him, and VR has gone from the hunted to the hunter. They head around now, and Boucher seems to make a small mistake just coming out of that hairpin there. Skurlock has gained plenty of ground back on him again. Very fascinating way where it's toing and throwing at the moment, and Dansbury is right in behind Keith Barrick as well, so he's not done with fighting for these top positions. Yes, Tarboe sets the fastest lap, 53.165. I think it just flashed up before that. NATO also said 53, low 53, so very even there at the front. We're now over the rumble strip there. Of course, you can carry more speed and use more of the track there, but of course we know the rumble strip harms your acceleration out of the corner. And as we are seeing it now, VR is looking for a way past. He's going to get a good slipstream here. Looking for a way past Tyler Skurlock into this next corner. There he goes, up the inside. Can he make it stick? Tyler was attacking Sal Boucher this time last lap, and he does make it stick. Can Tyler get back in line in front of Keith Barrick? He can indeed. In fact, he can challenge back Francisco Villar going into the next corner. Villar's having to take a narrow line. Barrick sniffing around for an opportunity there. Through round the corners they go. And Skurlock is still right up the backside of Francisco Villar. Keith is lurking around looking for any opportunity. Oh, and he hits the back of Francisco Villar there, Tyler Skurlock. That slowed him up and allows Barrick onto the back of him now. Barrick now on the outside going into this off-camber left-hander. Right-hander, sorry. And in goes Keith Barrick.
Very clean move.
Very clean move indeed. Tyler just gives him a little bit of a nudge back to let him know what he thought of it. Tries to cut back now, but of course he can't quite cut back too much because he didn't want to chop off the front of Dan Asbury and get spun himself. So this train of cars has been very entertaining so far. Vincent Khan at the back of it stalking along, and Tyler is into the pits. He's already pitting. Into the pits he comes. So he's gone early, and so has ahead of him Sal Boucher.
I think a good choice. I mean, if you are in a fight, definitely you lose a lot of time. So why not making an early pit stop? It gives you back the time later on in a race.
Does indeed. And now rival Vincent Khan has moved up to 6th as a result of that, of course. He's now in a net 8 position. He's stalking the back of Dan Asbury. Jesper Tarboe is still very close indeed to the back of Miguel Nato. Of course, those pit stops will allow you to come out in clean air, hopefully. That's the plan at least. And lap at your own pace without being held up by other people. side cars, it helps to keep the balance of the car. If you pit early and your rear tyres aren't very worn, it keeps the balance of the car into the next stint, so the car is not oversteering all over the place. The downside of the fact that towards the end of the race your tyres will be more worn and you'll be more susceptible to being passed with the people. As we see there, a pass by Vincent Khan on the back of Dan Asprey. Vincent Khan has his lights on. Obviously means business today. He's moved up from 10th to 5th position, a net 7th overall. Reggie Blaine there was in a net 9th overall. He started 16th, so he's done very well indeed. Our pre-race interviewer. And Keith Barrick also has his lights on. In behind the back of Francisco Villa there. These two have been glued together in the entire race. Both championship contenders. It's amazing how that happens. The championship contenders just seem to get together all the time.
I think Yuri Braham is going to lose a lot of points. I think if in this race he needs to come forward. I mean, either in race 1 or race 2, he's going to lose a lot of points.
Yep, you're going to have to get up in that 8th position because he's not going to get a good result in the second race otherwise. And into the pits comes everyone there apart from Miguel Neto. So everybody's coming to the pits. Tarbog, Villa, Barrick, Khan, Asbury. Is Blaine going to come into the pits as well? Blaine is not coming into the pits, and Tyler Nathio is coming into the pits. Driving for Team Nata. And let's see what happens here in these pit stops. They now come to a stop. This Batar boys are already stopped. In comes Dan Asbury. Setting out now is Francisco Villa. Is he going to beat Keith Barrick out of the pits? He is going to beat Keith Barrick out of the pits. Still very, very close indeed, though. That's virtually identical times, but I think VR gained just a little bit of time there on Keith Barrick. What do you think, Bjorn? Yes, he has indeed, half a second.
Yeah, he did. Maybe just like we mentioned earlier.
Sorry to interrupt, Bjorn, but up front there is Tyler and Francisco side by side, touching as they go through the sweepers.
Great fight.
Great fight as I think they made contact, and VR stayed ahead of Skurlock, but Skurlock has got back ahead of Barrick, so that's obviously worked out. The pitting earlier, like you were saying, has worked out very well indeed for Skurlock. He's only pitted 1 lap earlier than these as well, so the tyre wear won't be too much of a factor, and he's monstrous at the back, of course, of Francisco Villa on this opening lap. He's, of course, up to speed and confident with his car, having already done 1 lap.
But that's exactly what I said. I mean, if you are in a fight, get yourself out of the fight. Make a pit stop, give yourself some room, and also the benefit of that extra heave in your tires, you know?
Yeah, exactly. If you come out around somebody else and they're not quite confident of the grip level that they've already got. Of course, Yuri is looking for 14th, so he needs to make up another 6 positions, another 7 seconds or more before he gets up into the top 8, which is so essential. Of course, there is 2 drop scores, so if this is one of his worst races of the season, he can discard this particular point score, but of course you want to get himself up there as far as possible. As Francisco Villa just goes slightly wide. There's a few guys have DNF'd here. There are 4 DNFs so far. Bogdan with suspension damage, maybe that was as a result of Skurlock's up the inside. It's very close indeed. They get sideways and they hit and they touch going towards the pit wall. That was very close indeed. Unbelievable stuff there, Bjorn. I thought it was going to be a humongous accident.
I thought that's going to be a 3-1, you know, that's going to be 3 cars involved in 1 incident, but the guys keep it on the road. Unbelievable. I mean,
that is classic car control, especially in BMW, which is notoriously bad during contact. But Skurlock is right back onto the back of VR again, coming out of these corners, getting a great slipstream. Barrick behind is keeping up a little bit, not gaining a huge amount. He's getting into the slipstream there as much as he can now, but he must be laughing a little bit here. He must have having his eyes popping out and going around the last corner there, licking his lips perhaps at one point, but it all sorted out okay.
I also see that my teammate Michael van Schepping is out.
Yes, he's
I don't know what happened there, so Michael, maybe you can contact me with a chat message. What happened there?
It would be nice to know what happened there. He's one of the first DNFs as well, so that's interesting. Maybe Bogdan's DNF came eventually as a result of his lap 1 excursion. Very high speed excursion, very sideways excursion indeed as well. Up front, Miguel Neto still has not made his pit stop, and he might be coming to the pits this lap actually. Yes, he is into the pits this lap. So let's see what Jesper Tarborg can do. Can he get ahead of NATO? Pitted 1 lap earlier, so he's had this lap on fresh front tyres, while NATO has had a lap on normal front tyres, and NATO, I think, will perhaps just stay ahead of Tarborg, but it'll be very, very close indeed. Of course, Tarborg will have that consistent pace already soon as well. NATO will be coming out the pits now. Indeed, there he is, coming out of the pits, heading down the hill. On the right-hand side, we should see Jesper Tarborg appear any second now. There he is, coming into turn 1. Solberg there in 3rd place. He's running very well indeed. As I said, he needs 2 podiums really today. And Tarborg has beaten NATO out of the pits by a huge amount. Look at that. He's got almost half a second lead.
And I just got a message from a teammate, from the FDR team member, that Michael van Scheppingen had a desync with the game, so some technical issues.
Oh, so he's lost connection completely. Will he be there for the second race?
He probably will, yeah. That's what I'm going to find out right now.
We just got a message from Karen Madara and Bogdan, who had a good start, got a little bit of bump into the fast right at the end of the lap as we saw him going flying off around the corner at very high speed indeed. So that's where Karen Madara has gone, a result of his DNF. As you can see now, Jesper Tarborg has just a 0.06 lead over NATO. So the damage sustained by Camadaro in that first lap led to him big accident later on in the lap. NATO is stuck in the back of Jesper Tarborg now, and Boucher is right in behind. As you can see, the gap now has reduced from 0.6 to 0.4. So NATO with a slightly better tyres.
And I'm just getting a message from the FDR team that Michael van Scheppingen is not racing the next race. So he's finished for today. He can.
Oh dear.
He can go to the paddock bar. It's a big shame because talented driver, always motivated, doing well. Wish to see him up front soon. Yeah.
It's a shame not to see him in the league. But up front we have a brewing battle here between Tarborg and NATO. As Keith Berwick is fighting with Tyler Skurlock once again. Sick of these. These three are glued together. Look at these three. They've been fighting all race, and Tyler's going for the slipstream on VR and covering the inside, of course, on Barrick, and Barrick is trying to get the slipstream on him, following each other all the way around the track. Barrick almost puts a wheel on the grass there as he goes around that corner into the break in there. NATO is stalking the back of Jesper Tarborg. We saw him put not a forced move, it was a very fair move actually as well. It was quite a hard fair move on Reese Gardner into that corner there. I seem to remember Reese had the exact same thing happen to him in one of the pre-races, and through goes NATO and Tarborg has hit the back of NATO. NATO slid up the inside and Tarborg turned in. He's hit the back of NATO and NATO has gone sideways. Tarborg is back into the lead. Look at Saul Boucher stalking right in behind. He's looking for his second win of the season. Tarborg's looking for his third win on the trot. NATO is looking to put some of his good speed into a good result for once this season.
And what a great last few laps. I mean, what we look 3 cars battling for the lead.
Exactly.
It's really amazing.
Yeah. Fourth, just in behind there as well. This is exactly what we expect from the ATCC.
Yeah. Good example of clean, fair racing and really high level action all the way through.
Exactly. And NATO's got very sideways for the next few corners, trying to catch back up to Tarborg in that little incident there. I think we'll call it a racing incident there. Perhaps Tarborg could have backed off and let NATO go back through again after hitting him, but perhaps he felt that NATO had dived up the inside a little bit too hot. I'll call it a racing incident myself, and Tyler is still fighting off the attentions of Barrick, and VR is trying to stay ahead of them both and trying to catch up to these top 3. We're on the final lap now, Bjorn, and this is going to be a do-or-die lap here from NATO. Hopefully it's not a die, because we don't want to see big contact into the last lap into that corner. Second of place, of course, is a good result still. And he's come diving up the inside. I knew this would happen. He's gone up the inside and he's flown through. That's a very good move, actually. Very aggressive and very assertive indeed. And Tarborg is back down to second, and NATO has taken that position. He's wanted it for the last few corners, but Tarborg gets out of shape there into the next corner. And it looks like NATO has got the win now. He's got that half a second lead. In behind we've got Skurlock and Barrick still fighting each other fiercely, and Skurlock has caught right back up to the back of VR again. This train of cars is just toing and froing between each other. Dan Asbury has the all-important 8th position. Up front, Tarborg looks like he's going to settle for second place. Of course, he's still far ahead of his main rival there, Keith Barrick, who's in 6th position.
And Dan Asbury in 8th position at this moment.
So he'll be back up there in the second race.
Yeah, another chance.
NATO is going to take his first win of the ATCC Season 3. He flashes his lights as he comes over the line. Tarborg in second, Boucher in third, VR in fourth, holds off the attention of Skurlock, who holds off the attention of Barrick. 7th, Eric Nelson, who's moved his way up nicely from a slightly poor qualifying. 8th is Dan Asbury, he'll take pole position for race 2. Down in 12th there is Yuri Braham. Our pole sitter, Reese Gardner, finished back in 10th position. He would have been hoping for more from his result there, but VR will start 5th on the grid, and with his BMW starting pace, I expect to see him into second place perhaps by the first corner. Khan comes across the line in 13th. That's not a good result there from Vincent Khan. Not quite sure what happened to him, because he was challenging for 6th position at one point, wasn't he, Bjorn? Reggie Blaine there came in 18th position. He was doing quite well up in 7th position at one point, I think. However, Swiderski didn't move up very far for what he would be hoping for. Now we can see a string of DNFs. Bogdan, Lopez, Isles and Van Scheppingen. Congratulations there to Miguel NATO, taking his first win of the season. That's the 3rd win of the season so far for the Portugal racing team. In second place is Jesper Tarborg, who continues his very strong run of results so far. So what did you think to that race, Bjorn? I mean, your teammate Yuri Braham didn't quite manage to get himself up into that all-important 8th position. So that's going to harm his championship hopes quite a lot.
Well, like I already said, after qualifying, Yuri starting as 24th, it was already hard. I mean, it's just not his race, I think, today, and his pace is pretty good. So, but getting from 24th to 8th in just 12 laps, it's a big challenge, you know. And I think getting 12th is I think he maximized it.
Okay, as we go to the second race, this is a standing start. As we were saying, it's Dan Asbury on pole position for this race, so he's back up there again after qualifying 4th. Brought his way through into the 8th position. That's his best result of the season so far, so he'll be very, very pleased with that. After a dismal run of results, which have seen him placed no higher than 20th.
And just getting some news again from the FDR driver Michael van Scheppingen. He is driving in race 2, so he's on the grid, Michael van Scheppingen. Yeah.
That's good, at least he's made it into the second race. Watch out for the BMW starting power of Francisco Villa. Dan Asbury will be starting for pole in his BMW as well, so I would not expect to see him headed into the first corner. course. Those 101 points that NATO picked up has not done his championship hopes any harm at all.
There we are for the second race.
We are away. Sorry for missing the
Yeah,
start there. It's a bit of a lag on the screen. And Danesbury's got an excellent start, and VR is up into second position. Eric Nelson's dropped from second to third. Barrick is from third to fourth. As we said, the BMWs have really got an excellent start there.
Big gap. A really clean start from Dan Asbury. I mean, he took it on and proper job.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we were looking to get past him pretty soon though. So Road America, what happens when VR gets into the lead? He just isn't headed. Of course, the same happened at Nürburgring, although it was a lot closer fight there. Phase 1 winner NATO is still there in 8th position, where he started. Jesper Talborg has moved up 1 place from 76. Skurlock and Barrick are locked in battle again.
Yeah, great to see that again. I mean, all fair.
There is Keith Barrick. He's going up the inside of Eric Nelson. He's made a mistake, and his Synaptic teammate Skurlock also wants to get past and keep up with his sparring partner for this event. But Eric covers the line there, and Skurlock tucks back in. Talborg looks down the inside of Skurlock as well there. Wasn't really on though, that move. NATO and Boucher are at the back of the 8th. Reece Gardner has moved up 1 position there, as you can see, into 10th place. And back in the field there, we see there's a big accident. Look back in the field.
Whoa, a big one, yeah, indeed. 4 cars, 3 cars tangled into each other.
4 cars,
something like that.
That looked like one of the ART, say at Leon's. Yeah, there is Paul Wood, and Reggie Blaine looks like he was involved there as well. I think that is Diogo Lopez. That might be Hugo Gonçalves.
Yeah, I saw one of the Bon Accord cars. I think the Reggie one just smashed into the wall. That's one thing I saw.
Yeah, he shot him right across the other side of the track. There's a big accident. Into the pits has come Hugo Gonçalves. He must have a puncture. Michael Van Scheppingen, Robert Isles, Diogo Lopez were also involved, and as was Gonzalo Ignacio, and it seems was one of the Wood brothers as well. I think that's Paul. VR. Up front, it looks like Francisco VR is coming in, making lots of pressure there on Dan Asbury. In 3rd position is Keith Barrick. He's been a little bit disappointed with his 6th position, but of course it's more and more points on the board from his first race.
I think
Skurlock has now got past Eric Nelson, so he is free to charge after his sparring partner Keith Barrick.
I think Keith is just waiting. Keith Barrick is just waiting, and he's thinking, let the number 1 and let the number 2 driver just fight with each other, and at the end of the day, I walk away. Yeah, some smart driving.
It is smart driving. That's why he's probably the favourite for the title this season. His mixture of speed and consistency. And just at the back there, I see the bit of action between Nelson and NATO. Reece Gardner has moved up to the 8th position. Where has Jesper Talborg gone? Jesper Talborg has left the game. What on earth has happened there?
I don't know. Was he involved in a
disaster there for Jesper Talborg.
Yeah.
Braham has moved up into 8th position. Reece Gardner, 9th position, sorry. Reece Gardner now is challenging the back of Saul Boucher. Reece is determined to make up for lost time in the first race. If he gets past Saul here, very close indeed. If he gets past Saul here, he can get up to his race 1 nemesis Miguel Nato.
Do you think this is in favour of Dan Asbury? I mean, that Francisco and Keith are battling. Dan can actually walk away slowly, you know.
Well, of course, he'll be hoping that they get into a battle themselves. But I think that Barrick will be too intelligent to get into a battle with Francisco and let Francisco battle Asbury instead, rather than the other way around. Of course, it is very, very close up front here. It looks like VR and Barrick have got the measure of Dan in terms of speed, but of course, catching up is one thing and getting past is one thing completely else.
Indeed, the racing rule.
Exactly. Back there we can see the Synaptic cars having lots of fun together, as you can see. NATO is right in behind these two Synaptic races. Jesper Tarborg was just in behind Eric Nelson before he disappeared. I'm not quite sure why he decided, why he has left the game with his internet issue, or whether he's involved in a spin or a crash or contact somewhere.
Yeah. I'm trying to get hold of the young driver and try to find out what's happening.
Is he still on TeamSpeak?
He is.
It seems like maybe involved in a crash then. Just got VR sets past about 53.526. Not going as fast as they were in race 1, where 53.1s were the order of the day. These three are still battling very intensely. There's a train of cars flowing through. And Keith has got an excellent exit out of there. But VR is also getting an excellent slipstream from Dan Asprey in front. He's making the most of his double slipstream, but he doesn't seem to be able to take advantage at the moment. Very, very close as they head now into turn 4. Look now back from the back of Dan Asprey, looking back at the window view of Francisco VR, and VR has gone through, and Barrick is looking up the inside as well, and VR has gone through. Dan Asprey went slightly wide, and VR nipped straight through, took complete opportunity of that. We've been joined by Reggie. We'll get to him in a second once this fight for the lead has died down a little. Dan Asprey now has moved back down to second position, in behind Keith Barrick, Francisco VR, sorry, with Keith Barrick now on the back of him. VR will be looking to move away now from the leaders, as Barrick puts pressure on the back of Dan Asprey. He knows he has to get past Dan Asprey pretty soon if he wants to keep up with Francisco VR. Reggie, what on earth happened?
Yeah, there was a bit of mayhem around the back of the track. Some guy had spun, and I just caught him, got a puncture, aerodynamics. I had to quit before I ruined anybody else's race, you know.
Yeah, we saw you being your car being flung into the barriers.
Yeah, like I say, I came round the corner and some guy was facing the other way. I don't even know who it was. I was nowhere to go.
Yeah, we saw a bit of chaos behind. Looks like quite a few cars were involved, maybe 5 or 6 cars. As Tyler Skurlock has again gone for an early pit. It worked for him last race with an excellent 5th position, so perhaps it will work again for him during this race. We're very unlucky in there, Reggie. We're looking for you to have a strong result.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those things, you know. Had a bad first race, got damaged, and just run off in one of the corners and stuff, you know. So
all tend to add up, doesn't it? Just little mistakes here and there, and they all affect you further down the line. You find yourself way back in the pack, and you end up being lots and lots of incidents together.
Yeah, it's just proving, you know, that Super Pool's so important now. You have to nail it. If you don't nail it, you're at the back, you know.
Absolutely. You know, in this particular race, you can see the top 14 recovered by less than half a second, which is pretty incredible. On such a long lap as well. Saw that Yuri had a poor lap, and he ended up right back at the back of the field. Because he's up to a net 6th now in this particular race.
Yeah, and what we also see is that Keith Barrick is really, really pushing Dan right now, and I mean, Keith is on it. He's on a mission.
He is, yeah. I wonder if anybody will pit this particular lap. Somebody will. I think maybe Keith Barrick will. Yes, he is going to pit. That makes sense to me. He's been held up a little bit behind Dan Asprey, so he's coming into the pits, pushing very, very hard around the corner. They get it slowed down for the speed limiter, and he comes into the pits. Tyler Skurlock pitted last lap, so it'll be interesting to see where Tyler Skurlock and Keith Barrick rejoin. Into the pits now has come Gardner, Braham, Kahn, Sahlberg also. VR and Asprey carry on. by themselves. He has not pulled out very much of a gap in that one lap he's had to get away from Asbury. Asbury's showing the pace that put him at top of the time sheets at one point. He's now in third position as a result of those pit stops. He's having a big fight there with Michael and Shefflingham. There must be a lap down perhaps, or maybe the scoreboards are slightly messed up, but he's having a big fight there with his teammates Robert Isles and Michael Van Shefflingham. Head now down around the back of the boot.
Just getting word from Jesper Torberg what's happened in this race. He had a desync. He could not see anybody on track, so he had to stop. Big shame. He lost a lot of points there.
Absolutely, what a shame. Meanwhile, we can see that Barrick has come out well ahead of Skurlock. Nelson and NATO and Boucher are having a big battle in behind there. NATO has dropped a little bit of places, I think. Wasn't he ahead of Nelson before those pit stops?
I think he was, yeah. I think he... the pit stops of the rest were just a little bit better. Like I just mentioned, if you are in a fight, make a pit stop, because you will only lose the end of the day.
He's pulled away from this particular part, but he hasn't been able to gain on Keith after those pit stops. As Boucher pulls out for a little look there at the back of VR. And behind him is Rhys Gardner as well, so this is all on for young and old. There is Yuri Braham in behind, who's recovered well. His poor first race and poor qualifying. So he'll be looking just to pick up plenty of points.
What surprises me is that Dan Asbury already got 6.8 seconds behind the leader in just a few laps. I mean, Francisco is really walking away from Dan.
Let's have a look now at Dan Asbury. Well, he's pitted, I think, Bjorn, so that'll be why he's got a little bit of a bigger gap. Francisco Villar is still out on track. Dan Asbury has come out well ahead of Keith Barrick, so that pitting earlier has not worked for Keith Barrick at all, has it?
No, he's still there in third, and well, I think he needs to go for the direct fight.
Yeah, he was right behind Dan before that, but now Dan's got a nice 1 second lead, look. And Skurlock is even gaining on Barrick. They will commence battle once again.
Would be nice though.
Nelson and NATO are crossing swords. Boucher keeping watching brief once again. He seems to be doing that in both races, just keeping watching brief both times. But he needs to get himself a bit further up the order, Saul, but to gain some points on the top 3 or 4. Of course, it will help with Torborg dropping out of the championship, dropping out of this race. Sorry. Of course, as I say, there are 2 drop scores, so it's not a complete disaster. But that is unfortunate there from Jesper. He's only got like perhaps 1 chance now for a mistake for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's really hard, man. It's really hard.
A bit of a heartbreak there for Jesper, who have been going very well indeed. He's brought a little bit in this race, of course.
It's sad to enter a race like that way. I mean, you can always make a crash, you can always make a mistake and drop out positions, but this is just one of those technical failures which can happen in real life as well. I mean, you can have an engine failure whatsoever, and it's just sad.
And look at that, Tyler Skurlock is on fire, the fastest lap of the race so far. He's really gaining on the back of Keith Barrick. And out of the pits comes Francisco Villar. He's going to be alongside Dan Asbury coming out of the pits. Has he got enough speed coming out of the pits to stay ahead of Dan Asbury? I think he just about has the speed, and this has closed everybody up very tightly indeed. Keith has now came on the back of Asbury as a result of that, and VR is heading down the straight. He's in the lead. Asbury is in the slipstream. Is Asbury going to have a look? Is he going to do a NATO? Oh, VR covers the inside very aggressively indeed. He was having none of that. And now around the outside he's going down Asbury slightly wide. Cutting up the inside is Keith Barrick. That's going to make Dan go narrow into the next corner. VR gets slightly out of shape. And Dan Asprey and Keith Barrick are side by side once again. Keith has got the inside line into the next corner. Looking back now from the leader, Francisco Villar. Barrick takes second position, but Dan is going back up the inside. They very, very close to touching indeed. Tyler Skurlock is now right in behind the back of Dan Asprey. Dan has gone from second to third, challenging for the lead.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I think we can expect something from Tyler Skurlock as well. I mean,
Yeah,
he's hot today. He's on fire.
He's looking hot. Yeah, he is. He's looking hot indeed. And further back in the pack, of course, NATO's got past Nelson, and so has Boucher. And they're looking a very tasty pack indeed. This is the battle here. NATO, Boucher, Nelson, Gardner, and there's Yuri Braham just tacking on the back of that. And Gardner has gone slightly wide. Gardner's coming now the inside. He hit the wall coming out of there. Can Yuri go on the outside? No, he can't. Can he cut back and get a better exit? He looks like he can, perhaps a little bit. Here comes now Reece Gardner around the final corner. Yuri is going to look for the inside into the next corner, and I think he's going to get the position. He's going to gain 8th place there from Reece Gardner.
Yeah, fair move.
Fair move. It's set up nicely indeed. Reece,
Yeah.
really, that move was caused by his mistake 3 turns ago.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you make a mistake before entering a long straight, you will lose. As simple as that.
The racing is so close, you can't afford to make it a small mistake. Never mind, run wide and hit the wall. And again, Francisco Villar is going to the inside of the track to make sure he tries to break the toe of Dan Asprey. In behind there, look, is Tyler Skurlock. Back now, active start, championship leader.
Tyler goes in for the hunt, I think. Yeah, we can expect something within a few corners.
I think there is Dan Asprey fighting with Tyler Skurlock. There is the Seat Toledo, obviously an active racing driver. Of course, it's very important for Francisco Villar's championship that he stays ahead of Barrick in this race. He's finished ahead of him in race 1. He needs to finish ahead of him again in race 2. And he seems to be locked in battle again as well. Also, championship tighter again. With this event, 34 points behind Barrick. These 2 results, he can stay where he is and really, really help him in that overall points table. NATO has pulled away from the battle of Boucher and Nelson. Pushing very, very hard through those corners there. Lovely line there from Tyler Skurlock. Hits the apex beautifully.
Yeah, but this is one of those tracks you can really push. I mean, if you have a lot of confidence in your car, with all those sweeping corners and things, it's really nice to push the car here to the limits.
Now over the curve, and there's more back and more. Still with Barrick stalking in behind. VR is soaking up the pressure. Very, very good at leading from the front. We've seen him do it twice already this season on the road courses. Both his wins have come from race 2. And Barrick has got a little bit in slipstream there. He's just showing his nose a little bit, making sure VR knows he's there in the mirrors, making VR doubt if he's going to make a move or not. Barrick is not indeed.
One thing is sure, Keith is faster, but does he going to get the opportunity to pass?
I'm not sure if he's fast. If he's fast enough faster, if that makes enough faster to be able to make a pass. Of course, he's got the benefit of the slipstream to help him keep up with the back of VR. I think they're very, very even in pace. VR is looking very, very calm indeed. And his beautiful red and green BMW 320. So I do like that paint of this game. Behind is Dan Asprey, still holding on to 3rd position from Tyler, whose challenge seems to have faded just a little bit. It doesn't seem to be. He's staying behind Dan Asprey, but he's not showing his nose or being aggressive as he was maybe perhaps a lap or two ago. Of course, he's pitted a little bit earlier, so perhaps his tyres are a little bit more. Well, they will be more worn than the guys in front. Nato is gaining on this bunch ahead of him. He's 2 seconds behind Tyler Skurlock, so I don't think he's going to be able to make it, as we lose Diogo Lopez from the game as well. Saul Boucher and Eric Nelson are fighting together. Nelson let go at Boucher into turn 1 now and lost out because now Braham is right in behind him. Boucher has pulled away from the American driver. Here comes Yuri Braham now. Stalking the back
on the straight.
On the straight, yeah, exactly. Is he going to make a dive up the inside? Nelson left a little bit of room, it was tempting. Yuri had a look.
Yeah. It could have ended in tears, but I mean, both really professional to each other, and yeah.
Sensible driving in the end, wasn't it? It was
definitely, yeah.
It was the right choice.
Could have ended in tears.
Salvov in 10th. Swiderski has moved up to 11th in this race. It's a better race from him, but of course it's still not enough for what would be expected of a driver of his calibre. Vincent Khan is in 13th, so his championship has really taken a big hit in this race. Finished 13th in the first race as well, so not sure what's happening with him. Maybe he's got involved in certain battles. There is Bogdan in 14th. He'll be happy with that after a DNF in the first race. Daniel Wood there, tracking the back of him. Pedro Amaral also. And there is Gonzalo Ignacio and Paul Wood. They of course were involved in the big accident on lap 1, weren't they? So they've done well to bring themselves up to those positions.
Yeah. Indeed. And
Robert didn't finish the race again though.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it. The same with Robert Aals. I think Robert Aals was out as well in the first race, if I'm correct.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Perhaps
definitely a weekend. A weekend to forget for those guys.
Yep. Not a race event that they will remember fondly. They are in the pits. Barrick is still tracking the back of Dan Asbury. And Dan Asbury, look at the back there. Dan Asbury is under siege there from Tyler Skurlock. They were hooking the inside of the track, trying to make sure that Tyler didn't get the inside line into the next corner.
Yeah.
And Tyler is all
lap,
over the back. It is the last lap, as you say. Yeah. And Barrick is looking up in front as well at VR. You can't decide what to watch first.
I think we could better go for the first one then. We can actually see both fights in one screen then.
Yeah, go for the lead battle would be best.
Yeah.
We need a split screen. And there is Barrick in behind VR. As you can see, just in the background there, Dan is under huge pressure there from Scott. If anything happens between those two, NATO will nip through as well. So they need to be careful they don't make any contact, because NATO will take any advantage at all. And Barrick is right up in behind, getting all squirrely under braking. Third last corner they come. We're now down into the penultimate corner. It looks like VR is going to be able to hold this win away from Barrick, but he was a little bit wide there. Barrick takes a nice line, but nothing gained really. All VR now needs to do is just come across the line here, and Barrick is right in behind him. Can he make a run to the line? No, he can't, not quite. And VR takes his third win of the season. Barrick, the championship leader, is second place. Dan Asbury third, Skurlock fourth, NATO in fifth. Our race 1 winner, Nelson 6th, Yuri Braham 7th, Saul Boucher in 8th position. Braham got Boucher in the end. That's an excellent result there from Braham. Gardner, our pole sitter, comes across the line in 9th position. Saarburg in 10th. Swiderski 11th, Werner 12th, Khan 13th. Not a good weekend for him. Daniel Wood there in 14th, Pedro Amaral in 15th. Bogdan comes across the line in 16th. Waiting for the rest of the drivers to come through. Bit of a depleted field by the end of this race. Quite a few DNFs and retirements and problems there, crashes in but a very exciting race at the front with VR and Barrick again embroiled in battle.
Exactly, and Dan Asbury, I mean, compliments to the drive. I mean, before entering this race, his best position this year was 20th or something like that.
Yeah, 20th, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, improving it by a steady podium, getting third. It's big compliments to the driver.
Absolutely, I mean, a third position is a fantastic result there for Dan Asbury. We'll hopefully get a little chat with him during the post-race driver interviews. some drivers will be joining us pretty soon, hopefully. As across the line came Paul Wood in 18th position and Hugo Gonçalves there in 19th. They'd obviously had Hugo was involved in that first lap incident where he had to pit for a puncture as well, but he soldiered on and picked up some decent points. Hopefully we'll get some drivers in here.
Would be nice
Perhaps
to have some, yeah.
Here we are. We are joined by Mr. Saul Boucher.
Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Boucher. It's becoming a regular occurrence. You coming in here. Third position in race 1, and an 8th in race 2. How did you feel those races went for you?
Well, race 1 went excellent. I managed to pull off the best time I've ever managed to pull off through all of my testing here, including my pre-qual and qualification, 52.5. And quite surprised that was only good enough to land me in a 5th grid spot position to start, but
Yeah, the competition
goes to show the competitiveness of the field here.
It was incredible.
The race itself
covered by less than half a second. I mean, in the third race, you just seemed to just go steady away and nice consistent laps in, and you almost was able to take advantage of the scuffling up front.
Yeah, it was. Aside from somebody making a very large mistake, overtaking opportunities seem to be a little bit limited here.
Yeah, I mean, those corners are very, very fast, so there's not very many big braking zones, and of course the camber is there as well. So if you hold the inside line, you pretty much guaranteed to stay ahead. Let's go with Francisco Villa, who's not joined us before in the post-race interviews, despite taking 3 race wins now. Congratulations to you for the 2nd race win once again, Francisco.
Hi Ryan, thank you very much.
How did you feel those races went for you? I mean, were you happy with your pace? Are you happy with the results?
I mean, this round was almost perfect for me. I knew that it would be very difficult in the first round. In the first race to win, because I've been practicing with all the Portuguese and with Miguel, and they were really, really fast. So I knew it was quite difficult to beat them in raw pace. So I was expecting to finish in the top 5 and then get the advantage of the BMW on the start. And so I did. I was quite lucky to pass Danny Asbury in the 2nd race. And then I just had to hold on with Keith, because he was really, really fast and he was pushing on me in the 1st and 2nd race. But fortunately, I handed it, and one more win. It was very good. Very good for the championship as well, because Yuri was down the pack, and I don't know what happened to Jasper, but I saw that he quit in the middle of the 2nd race, so it was a good round for the championship.
And of course,
what?
Yeah, he had a desync, so he synced out. So, and of course, you finished in front of Barrick in both races, so that helps the championship.
Yes, it's good, of course. It's also good for the championship. Now, I imagine that I must be 2nd in a championship at the moment.
I would guess so. Yeah, that's almost certain with the poor results for Yuri and the disconnection there for Talbog.
Yes, and also for the Portugal racing team, it was more than perfect, because we won both races, me and Miguel. So
you took up both wins. Congratulations to both.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Danny Asbury, we saw you had plenty of speed during practice. You managed to convert that into an 8th place in race 1, a 4th place in qualifying, which is a little bit below perhaps where you wanted to be, but of course put you on pole for race 2, and you almost held off the challenge of VR and Barrick.
Yeah, I've struggled through the first 3 rounds, and finally get some pace. Today was great. Unfortunately, we had some strong drivers like Jasper to deal with. Early on, we got checked up by him, and you guys got past me like Keith, and it's really hard to pull any type of overtake on Keith. I was happy just to.
I mean, it does bring about a massive change in look for you, really. I mean, as I say, the best result so far has been 20th position this season.
Yeah.
You to be qualify 4th and then finish in an 8th and then a podium position in race 2 is obviously a welcome relief for you.
Well, I can't take all the credit myself. I have to give a big shout out to Dragos Haba. He allowed me to use this setup from pre-quali, and that's where I got most of my speed from. Obviously I had to convert it a little bit to the race, but that's mostly what it is right there.
Well, thanks to Mr. Harbour for giving us a new face at the front of the field. Miguel, are you wanting to say a few words?
Yeah. Great two races for me, and first race qualifying was very good. Get to the front of the race on lap 4. Imagine, and have a good pace in the race one. The pit was very good too. So good result.
It was an excellent strong move on Tarborg on the last lap.
Yeah. So I saw Jasper braking too soon in that curve, two laps before, and I try in the last lap because only there is possible.
Yeah, I mean it was an excellent win as well. I mean you almost caught up to the front guys in race 2 as well as they were squabbling. You got a good result there also. That does your championship hopes no end of good, of course, because you'd dropped back a little bit from the front group.
Yeah. So, the pace in the race 2 with Francisco in front, I knew it that 3 seconds, 4 seconds behind, it's impossible because Francisco was very strong too, and the track. The 5th position in race 2 was very good because I lost time in the first half of the race. Was very good.
Well, congratulations to you, Miguel. Moving on to Mr. Barrick. The first race was a little bit disappointing for you, as was qualification, of course. But you still got the championship lead, I think, by my calculations. So you've come away with good results.
It was pretty tough. I mean, the pace of the field was pretty much blinding. That's the only way to really put it. And I know your math isn't the greatest, but it's good to know that even with you doing the math. but I'm really happy that the way the race went. I was happy that I stayed clean, didn't get into any incidents. Sixth, I believe I finished in the first race, which I'm happy to do, especially with an 8th qualifying. But in race 2, I think if I may have had another lap or two, I might have been able to just put together the right lap to maybe make a move on Francisco. But the pace that he was holding in race 2 was, it was really hard to match lap for lap because any little bobble and the draft's gone. Then you're pushing to get it back, and then when you're pushing, you make a small mistake, and so on and so forth. You know how it goes. And all I gotta say is, I mean, everyone raced pretty well. We had a couple issues with a few guys desyncing. That'll be dealt with after the fact, in the pits. But with Jesper dropping out, it's very unfortunate because he had a very strong run going. I'm really sorry for him, obviously, because you hate to see that to any competitor. But all in all, I think it was a great event, and everyone did a great job.
Well, congratulations for holding on to the championship lead as you've had since the first race of the season. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you for entertaining us all.
Well, thank you again, Ryan, and everybody. We'll see you guys the next event, and
we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Right on, and we'll pop out of here right now.
And where are we going, Mr. Keith?
Where are we going next? Sebring International.
Sebring International. That'll be an excellent. That'll be an excellent race indeed in sunny California.
Very nice, and it should be some very good racing again. But it seems to be every race the races just keep getting tighter and tighter, and it's hard to really predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's really boring. Really, the races are far too tight and far too close.
Yeah, I'm sure the viewers they just thought it was a bore and probably just tuned right out.
Yeah,
well, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Bjorn for joining. I really appreciate it. And you guys you guys did a great job, I'm sure. I'll be downloading as soon as this is done.
So thank you, drivers. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Sebring International, like Mr. Keith Barrett's just said.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right,
thank you very much.
Everyone out of here.
So there we have it. That's the 8th race and the 4th event of the ATCC Season 3 over with. Any final thoughts, Mr. Haas?
Yeah, I think we what we saw was a great race. Nice overtaking maneuvers. Close action all the way. I mean, in practice we already told each other this is going to be close, and at the end of the day it was close. We had some ongoing fights to the finish, you know.
It was even closer than I expected. I mean, in qualifying,
Yeah,
that was insane.
Yeah, I think the same. I think we saw some good action. I mean, restarting at pole position, surprisingly, and I think those are the two big surprises of today. Reese gaining pole position and Dan Asbury putting in a really great result with a 3rd place in the race too. I mean,
yeah, it's always great to see new faces up at the front. We get a bit bored of Keith winning all the time, don't we? So it's nice to see all the other guys giving him a bloody nose now and then. Okay, thank you very much, Bjorn, for being my co-commentator for tonight.
All my pleasure. All my pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it indeed. It's nice to have a bit of company. I get a bit bored talking to myself. It's all a bit lonely at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, but usually I do that when I sleep. I talk to myself, so I might as well do it like in TeamSpeak now, you know.
Okay, dude. Well, thanks very much. And thank you to all the viewers who've been watching tonight, and who indeed have downloaded it. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time, at the same time, at 2 GMT, or at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And for races 9 and 10, at event 5 of the season. This is at Sebring International. So again, staying in America, and we'll look forward then to seeing some close racing once again. I've been Ryan Callan, and you have been Mr. Bjorn de Haas, haven't you? And we'll see you next week.